Well, welcome. We have Zio, the Zio band here in full force. We got three members, and Haley, I take my hat off to her. She rounded everyone up and did a great job, as she always does. And these guys are going to be talking about their new album, and I'm going to let them say the name because I really think I would screw that
That's so
up.
music. You
Um,
go, Jimmy.
Mark explained that.
but
Yeah.
we've
So
got Jimmy
yeah,
Pelagrossi. I'm going to give it a try
That's
here.
me.
Of course, Haley Griffiths and Mark
pass, yeah,
Pasia. Yes.
pass, yeah.
And they are going to tell you what they do as far as uh, instruments and things like that. And go ahead and do your introduction, then we'll jump into how the band got together.
Okay, so I'm on lead vocals, although Zio is always a joint. It's always two singers in Zio, so I'm always one half of the singing pair.
Uh, I am the drummer of the band.
You think about that.
Yeah, I had to figure out. I was gonna say it in French for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so a drummer of the band and also producer and songwriter along with Mark. Um, yeah.
Right. So yes, I'm Mark. I'm the guitar player. I think Jimmy forgot to say that he's also the founding member of Zio. He's the one who's kind of behind the whole initiative and kind of putting the band together, and he's the kind of driving force behind the whole project. So I know he's very shy and he's trying to not mention it, but he's definitely the driving force behind all of this.
But also, Mark didn't say that he's writing.
Yeah. So
in the
guitar
writing.
playing and writing a fair share of the music as well.
But none of these people are shy on stage, and that's why.
No,
And that's
right.
why they were confident enough to come out with a live album. And when you're going to do a live album, why do one side or one CD when you could do two? So they went all out, and it's a double CD. And as far as I know, it's most or all of the music you've made for Zio. And go and get this. It is absolutely wonderfully. They did a great job capturing the sound and capturing the best of the sound. Um, Tell us how everything got started, how you pulled everyone together, and they even pull in Heather Finley as a guest singer, and I was kind of hoping she'd be here because I've never met her. I've always wanted to interview her, but down the road we'll catch up. But they do bring in a lot of big names as well. So go ahead.
So how the album started or how the band started?
Start the band first, and then definitely
Band, yeah.
let's talk about the album. Yeah.
So the band, it was originally so Haley and I were in a band called Karnataka, and we all went part ways at some point, and that's when I wanted to do a solo album, which I've called Zio, and that was basically me just having fun with some friends. I was calling mates to do. So each track has different lineup, and yeah, we're just getting together in a room and then playing one cover and then recording it, and then it ended up to be on an album. So yeah, this album was called Zio, but originally that was just meant to be a solo album, and then that was it. But in two of the track, so Mark was playing, and the original keyboard player Olivier also was playing on another track, and we were basically friends. The three of us were just like kept like just talking about music all the time, and then from this solo album we kind of basically started doing some writing together, and then we were like, should we just call it Zio then? And then that's kind of how it started.
All right. And by the way, that Karnataka, that's how we say it over here, and probably wrong, but I did review the album before Haley and just loved it. The one with the lights, the pink lights and all that on the front cover. I can't remember the name of it.
Gathering Lights, isn't it? Is that
The Gathering Light, the studio
I think that's
album.
it. Yeah. It was a one right before Haley came in.
Yeah,
And
that's
absolutely love that album. So
yeah.
there's another one. If you're looking for music, go back and also listen to Haley's.
Secrets of Angels one.
Okay.
It's definitely the best.
It's the one we did,
album.
I had a feeling she might say that, but yeah, no. Yeah, all the Karnataka albums. And I think didn't the first one, didn't you have a different singer there as well?
I think there's now four different singers
Yeah,
across
yeah.
the album.
Start, yeah.
Okay. So that's how it all happened. And just talk about some of the people that are involved, other than the three of you, obviously, but talk about that briefly, and then we'll talk about how you pulled together this unbelievable double live.
It's so there's a long list, isn't it?
I think initially,
Yeah.
so the original Zio project, Zio Sessions, was a purely instrumental covers album.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's
And then once Jimmy, Olivier, and Mark kind of got together and started writing, I mean, they very much are like the core writers. You know, they are Zio, but they wanted to kind of bring in other musicians, and it's very and different people from Prague, some like different names, kind of like a kind of mini kind of super group of our level of what we're kind of doing, and with the idea that every album or every tour it can be different players, but the core is kind of still the same with like Jimmy and Mark. And they seem to have let me stay on as well. I do still am still, I guess, really. But yeah, I guess from that it was being able to kind of bring in different people. The first lineup had that Joe Payne, who's an incredible singer. And then the second tour we had like Charlie Ramold. And then recently we've had Mary Renner and Heather Findlay. So it's been really nice to work with different people and different talents. I think that's the beauty of Zio, that it's constantly evolving and changing and bringing in different talented people. Whilst at the core of it is still Mark and Jimmy and Olivier's amazing writing, but with being able to use different vocalists and different musicians to play their music.
And since I mentioned Karnataka, I should also mention that Haley has her own band and also was on Oliver Wakeman's new album. And she's, all over the place as far as different. She plays on. It seems like she sings on everyone's albums these days. Which, when you have a voice like that, yeah, everyone wants you. So yeah.
It's very flattering. It's been a really great year actually, because you mentioned obviously Oliver's album Adam Cara came out. Obviously getting to tour with Zio. My band are out on tour in like 2 weeks' time, and I've also been kind of singing with IO Earth as
Yeah,
well.
I
We're
saw
doing a
that,
joint
yeah.
tour coming up, so it definitely keeps me my toes. It's a lot of music to learn, but it's what makes it really fun, and I've really enjoyed being able to sing different sets throughout this year. It's been really good. I'm very flattered that everyone keeps asking me. So.
For those of you that didn't hear her or have a hard time with the other English, she said IO Earth, and they are excellent as well. And I've reviewed some of their albums, and
cool.
how have they changed? I know I'm getting off kilter here, but I just saw that today. I saw you post that today. Have they changed members on IO Earth? I know, like I say, it's not Zio, but go ahead.
I'm currently kind of filling in. Their singer is kind of pretty much on maternity leave, so I did a big show for them at the Crescent Theatre last year, which was great fun. I really loved it. And then they asked me to fill in for a festival earlier in the year. And for now, for when they've got touring dates and their kind of main singer isn't available, then I'm kind of stepping in. So I think kind of some live dates, certainly for this year, I'll be filling in for them, and I think I'll be hopefully be recording a little bit for them as well. Yeah, it's been good fun.
And then, Mark, we haven't forgotten about you. Tell us a little bit. I'm sure you're involved with other projects as well.
Actually, not that much. Thanks for asking, though. But yeah, I mean, Zio is really the main thing I do musically. I mean, I've been playing guitars for years, and I've been kind of doing like little things, like small scale things, like recording things with a bunch of friends. At the moment, in parallel to Zio, I used to play in the progressive rock band that we formed back when I lived in France with a bunch of friends, and we wrote a concept album. that we never really recorded or did anything with. So we're currently re-recording the material and potentially kind of gonna release that later this year. Or it's a slow burn thing that we've been working at and chipping away at for the last probably like 25 years. So we are in no rush. I mean, it's taken very, very long to get this far, but it's yeah, Zio is really the main thing for me, really. Which is also why I enjoy playing live with these guys so much. Like I'm really enjoying every minute of it because that's my main music activity. So I make sure that I get as much fun as I can while we're on stage.
They're
If
helping
you'd
you
see
get
us live,
practice. Yeah.
if you'd see
I'm
us
sorry.
live, Mark, so Mark, when he plays, you can definitely see that he's enjoying it. He's got the big
big
smile on the
smile.
face, and every time he like the sections he likes playing or something, he turns around and looks at me with his face. I was like, I know you like this riff.
That's the
So
point. Like the point is really to have fun. That's the
yeah,
way
Totally.
I'm
definitely.
kind of approaching it. Is it's kind of it sounds selfish, but I largely do it for me. Like I'm having the most fun, and then if people enjoy what they're hearing, then that's cherry on the cake kind of thing.
Well, there'd be no point in any of us doing it if it wasn't fun
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
didn't
Yeah.
love being on stage.
To me, it is the whole point of
Yeah.
Zio, to be honest, is really so personally actually the way it started and the way we write or create the concept. I really see that as a playground with no barrier. It's just like we literally
That's
do
nice.
what we like, and
Or an
so
open bar. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
exactly. It's literally that. And that's why, so if you had the albums, for example, the album True Waves, it can come from like a very Beatles poppy track to a very metal riffy track, and then it goes on to some, I don't know, prog, 80s prog or something. And this is exact because this is all the stuff we love. And then,
No
so
barriers.
sometimes it can come from different people, but we always just do it because that's the point of Zero, basically.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and say that name of the new album and then tell us how what was the impetus to that? How did you say, we really need a double live album to do this?
Every
Because
time,
in the past, live album bands have kind of stayed away from live albums, and
yeah.
they've definitely stayed away from double live because they fear there's just not a market. But you just went for it, and I'm glad
Well,
you did.
once,
Zio always just goes for
yeah,
it.
exactly. And once again, it's just one. How can I say? Just one thing we wanted to do is no like even if it's nothing anymore. But like, so it's funny you ask this because you're not the first one asking. Every time I answer that question, I'm always not clear with it. So I've kind of thought about it a few times now. And Hailey told me as well, you weren't clear on this one. So I was like, okay. So it's Elibomevil. So it's basically live.
Say it slower.
So I say it with the French accent. So it's probably like an English accent. I don't know if it would be the same, but I say it Elibomevil. So which is basically live mobile in reverse. So that's why there's
Oh,
a
okay.
Latin reverse. So quite a few people got the hint. Did you not?
There's actually
Um,
a secret thing in that, like the reverse E makes a 3,
yeah,
which because it's our third album. That's like the
Oh my
secret.
goodness,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that either.
There you go.
So
Well,
yeah, so what I like, so the idea of this is because once again we do concept, even if it's a live album, it's still a concept. And I found so the one thinking about it is I found it fascinating that basically when people are listening to the live album, wherever they are, so like in a car putting the CD on or in the underground with the headphones, I found it fascinating that they're basically listening to so they're like they could be in a quiet place. I was imagining, for example, a man sitting on his living room drinking a little whiskey. So we can hear that in one of the track actually. So sometimes there's some bit of soundtrack basically that are kind of representing these moments. Um, and I found it fascinating that these people are like in a single moment on their own or like in a pub or something, and they're listening to something that was happening like in a big, I mean, in a normal venue,
concert
or
hall.
let's
Yeah.
say with like a crowd going on and then a band rocking out. And I don't know, I found it like there's like some sort of like a like this fifth dimension or something. It was like
Yeah.
they're hearing something completely different, but what they're listening was something
Totally.
happening in a like in another atmosphere kind of thing. So that's why I wanted to recreate with that. So I hope that's clear now. Is it clear?
Yeah, no. And
That's yeah.
I've listened to it both ways on headphones, and then just this weekend
CDs.
or
Yeah.
don't have the CD yet, but I have the MP3s that Haley
Oh yeah.
sent.
But
And
did you get all the references to listening to somebody listening to the
Yeah, so
album?
it's basically
yeah,
someone listening
Yeah.
to. So sometimes he's playing tennis, or so
well,
our sound engineer that is usually mixing our albums is a tennis player, so it's kind of reference to him. Um,
in the songs. Oh, okay.
yeah, so you hear
Yeah,
sometimes like some little sound,
gotcha.
or there's at some point a little hint on Hailey, actually, her band, because the person is.
Oh
Do you remember that
yeah.
the person is
Yeah.
listening in a pub? He's
Oh, okay.
listening. He's basically having a night out, and he went to see the Haley Griffiths band, and then
Good
he's
choice.
outside of the pub smoking cigarettes, so you can hear you can
Yeah,
hear
oh
the
yeah,
cigarettes
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah. I did
and
hear it.
uh, and then he goes back listening to the album. So it's kind of little things like that.
Yeah,
Well, we
with the
took it
one-off.
down to the bay this past weekend, and we're just blasting it out the window. And had a few
Awesome.
people, and had a few people say, "Who is that? What the heck is that?"
This is
Because
crazy.
obviously, the people in over here don't hear it as much as I'm sure in England, and that was fun. And to be able to introduce, well, you got to check this out, and told them about the album and all, and yeah, I will go and look for that.
It's funny what you're saying. When we last few weeks ago when we played in St. Helens, a similar thing happened. We were playing in a venue, and apparently there was a pub just next to that venue, and we could hear the music. And they turned up to the front door where we were playing and asking, "Oh, what's going on there? What's that music?" And then there's about like 10 people who walked in to the gig just because they could
Oh
overhear
yeah,
some music from the
yeah,
background.
yeah. A few
Yeah.
people came in like that.
Oh wow.
So they
Yeah,
had no idea what they were walking
That was the
into,
drum
but yeah,
guys.
and that's
No, it
what's
wasn't was it the
All
drum
the
guy? No, it
hecklers.
wasn't the
it's
drum.
the
It
guitar
was
guy.
the young,
No, the
young
guys in
guys,
the
wasn't it?
balcony. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
Ah, oh,
wonderful
that's
thing
cool.
about it. I mean, you can introduce people to this progressive rock, which what the heck is, I mean, these younger kids, what the hell is progressive rock? Well, let me tell you about it, or no, let me let you listen to it and then I'll tell you about
Yeah.
it. um, yeah,
It is.
no, it really, you captured the essence of a live album. And one of my,
Actually, to come back to you were saying the double album, it's actually quite simple. The idea is I just wanted to do the full show that we are playing. I didn't want to remove any track from what we're doing live, basically. The current show anyway, which is the two albums put together. So for me, it was really important. So that's why because sometimes we may not be happy with one take we play live, so that's why we recorded actually four. So it was, yeah, I think it was four different gigs, um, and so we had like many options we could pick from and stuff, but it was really important for me to have the full show, which turned
now,
into
will there be an accompanying video, either DVD or Blu-ray or?
um
Not for now.
mm, mm, it's not in the pipeline now, but I think it's you're not the first person asking actually. Maybe we'll do something eventually, but I
Yeah, I
don't know,
think
might think of
for
a
the
I
concept.
know it's expensive, but
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bit of a
just the
weird coincidence where
you go
we've got
ahead.
a bunch of videos, but for those shows we didn't have multi-track audio, and for the shows where
yeah,
we had multi-track audio, we didn't have a good video. So
yeah.
we've got plenty of material, but it didn't quite add up. But yeah,
Oh,
that's why
okay.
we just went
Yeah,
for
that's true
audio on
actually.
demand.
Probably if we had like
Actually
enough
had the
to do a
footage.
DVD, we
Yeah.
probably would have done it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because I've seen some of the YouTubes and they say bleh, they sound great, and
Mm.
you see the interaction with the I mean with the crowd, and how you guys sing and play and everything, and it just puts a whole picture together. But yeah, it is expensive, and it's a gamble whether people will go out and buy it, and I
But we've been,
understand if you don't.
I'm sure Mark can tell, but like we've been talking lately, and then even with Haley actually, but like because with the way the industry works, it always moves, and depending on like even like from one year to another in different product and stuff. So you kind of have to follow this trend if you want to make sure you don't make mistakes in in what you're making. Um, so yeah, this is quite like sometimes a little bit of gamble, and obviously we're doing this ourselves, so we're not like a major company that know what's going to work or what's not. Um, so it's always a little bit of a test sometimes. So like we always only to do vinyls, for example, but this is a like a risky one because it's quite expensive to make. Um, yeah, so it's a kind of same question for, and there's all this little the cassette now that's coming back and
Yeah,
the USB sticks and all these kind of things. So yeah,
I think that's probably a better long-term plan than DVDs. I think people are not really into DVDs
yeah,
anymore. Um,
yeah,
so
not
it has to
DVD,
be
but probably
digital video.
Blu-ray. Yeah,
Because I think at the end of the day, Zio is an incredibly visual product. So
yes,
seeing our show, I
definitely.
think is quite different to just listening to the album. It is, as concept as like the album is also like the concept of the show and the colors and the look, and it's incredibly energetic and visual and high energy. So yeah, you do want people to actually see the live show.
mm,
Um,
Well, and to see the two of you and Heather singing together, I mean, those are things that, yeah, you definitely want to be able to say you saw her,
mm,
experience. That's the better word. And yeah, no, it's down the road. Maybe you will, but yeah, it is. And people like me and fans are like, why don't they do that? Well, there's a
mm,
lot of cost to it. And like you just said, do we do that? Do we do a beautiful vinyl? Do we do a
yeah,
cassettes? Do we do CDs? And do we do Blu-ray and
yeah,
DVD? There's so much. And you used to have the label to take care of all that and didn't have to worry about it, but now you got to come up with the financing, and yeah,
yeah.
and people just don't. It'd be nice to have, but yeah, there's cost to it. And are you going to support it? And that's why you see so many of these crowdfunding type things,
Mm,
because
I
it
think
is it is very expensive.
there's some upside to it, I think, as well. Like, you asked me, maybe it's not really frequent that you see a band do a double album, a double live album. And I guess that's kind of the flip side because we're independent. We kind of, if that's what we want to do, we just
yeah,
do it. There's a certain amount of freedom attached to not having a label or you don't have to have this kind of conversation or this kind of functional tool. If that's what we want to do, and we kind of we have the funds or we can manage to make it happen, then we just go for it.
mm,
It's in some ways it's also nice not to have that kind of relationship
yeah,
that constrains you.
It's a double-edged sword. You got the
Yeah,
freedom, but then you got the freedom to raise the money to try
yeah,
to pay
exactly.
for it.
yeah.
And if you don't, then you're going to do it my way, and it's like, yeah, it's my money. You're going to do it my way, and
yeah.
that takes the fun out of it, really. And yeah, yeah, no,
Some
that's
labels are even asking like to re-record, for example.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've heard that lately quite a few times where they're like, "Oh, your album is cool. We're happy to sign it, but we want you to re-record with these musicians." And you're like, "But I
But
want
they're
to go to
not.
my band," or
Yeah.
Well, that
um,
no.
yeah,
All right. Well, we've got that little time warning. We got 9 minutes,
yeah, 10 minutes.
but no, let's talk about and with so many songs. I know we won't probably cover all of them, but how about let's start with the first CD opening with Play, which is really cool. It's a nice introduction. I think this is what you were kind of talking about
Mm.
um, at those little um, things that set up the
Sound
song.
effects, I think, something
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
it's a
Jimmy.
person
Yeah,
leaving home basically. So,
go
as I
ahead.
said earlier, so is I try to kind of do like the journey of a day of someone listening to the album during
Through
like
the
across
whole
the whole
album.
day.
Okay.
So you hear the beginning, the first thing you hear is just a door slamming, so it's the person leaving home basically.
All right.
And yeah, and then
Um,
after that he jumps into the underground, and that's where he starts. So there's a little sound actually, like a little toot. I don't know if people
yeah.
notice that, but
Yeah, I heard it.
when you make it, you know the more the details. But and that's always the sound when he plays or stops the album.
Yep.
I need to listen to it.
All right. And then so the first one's Untenable.
Let
Talk a
Mark
little.
start talking about this one then.
Yeah, so that one is from our second album. Yeah, we thought there was a good kind of opener for when we commenced we actually start playing. It's quite energetic. It's got a big riff to
It
start
is.
with, and then it's got it's got a bit of everything. Where there's a quieter passage. We've got both singers as well. Like there's the lovely bit in the middle where Haley sings with something a bit more kind of quiet and kind of nice, and then there's the contrast with the more powerful, start and end with the vocals, big guitars. So we thought it's a good way to just kind of make a statement as the first song
Yeah.
really, and just kind of go for it. It's relatively short as well, so it also takes the audience into it without starting with like a 15-minute epic or whatever. So it's a good way to get into it and just kind of give a quick take.
Straight Up From Underneath is really good. I really enjoyed that one. Um, uh,
Well, I mean, this is actually one of the only track that we wrote as a full band with everyone in the room. So I mean, 6 people, and that was kind of a tribute a little bit. So at first we did a few jams with Mark and Olivier. We kind of put it together, and slowly as we were rehearsing with the guys, then we kind of started building something a bit bigger with it. Um, but to me, I feel like is a total track basically,
Yeah.
because we have that shuffle, that Rosenaire shuffle, and the atmosphere of it as well is not like a super proggy complicated track. Is like more melodic with like some
Yeah, some great melodies.
woes, melodies and stuff. Yeah.
it's one of the longest tracks on the first CD.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Mark, did you want to say something?
Oh no, yeah, it's funny. I mean, this one to me is there's quite a lot of guitars, and it's only the
Yes.
second song we're playing. So when it's one of the ones where I'm like, wait, this one I need to be well warmed up by the time we get there because there's a lot going on, and it's only like 5 or 6 minutes since we've started, and there's a lot of guitars. There's always one that I kind of worry about a little bit when we play it, just to make sure that I don't screw it up too much.
So just one
And
thing actually, I'll say just a little backstory for this song.
sure.
The title, Straight Up From Underneath, when I wrote the lyrics of this song, do you actually recognize this? This is a quote from a film, Straight Up From Underneath.
It's to me, and this is going to take you in a way different direction, but there's a song.
Yeah, from a
You
film, not from a
guys,
song.
no, okay, but there's a song by the Tubes, and the car played it the other day, Up From the Deep, and
Yeah.
completely different than your song. I'm not saying you copied it at all, but hearing that song, I was like, that's what I was trying to place, straight
Yeah,
up
that's
from
cool.
the underneath. And
See,
like I
Straight
say,
Up
I
From
know
Underneath.
it's not the same. Do you guys know the
Yeah,
song? Do you know the song on top
that
I don't think I
actually
do.
comes from Forrest Gump.
from who?
Forrest Gump, you know the film,
Tom Hanks
Tom
film,
Hanks film.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Okay.
Yeah, you know
Okay.
that scene when
I
he's walking in the river like this, and he keeps saying, "Oh, it was raining so much," because he's writing letters. It was raining so much that one day we thought that it was raining straight up from underneath. He says that in the
okay.
film.
There, no,
So you can-
I'm
yeah.
not I'm probably one of the few Americans that wasn't a big fan of it because the things that he put himself into those pictures, I'm like, those are classic famous historical things. And so I
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
really I didn't want him
So you-
touched. I think he was at Martin Luther King's
Oh yeah, that's
great
fair enough.
speech, and
Yes.
it's like, no, you weren't there. You're not even a real person. But anyway, so to me, I
Wow.
never got into the movie like some people did. So nothing wrong with it. It was a good movie, but I would have definitely missed that completely. But do you guys know the song I'm talking about with the tubes?
I
Mm.
don't
I
think
know
I
the
do.
name, but I don't think I would tell you.
All right, when you get home, or when you get time, just put that thing on.
No,
It's
okay.
like, and I don't know if you know the tubes at all, but they were kind of like you guys, just, wild, open, free. They really didn't have a set. I mean, some people called them pop, some people called them prog, some people called them rock, some
That
even
sounds
called them
crazy.
metal. And so they just kind of free flowed between stuff. In this song, it sounds like they were sitting down listening to ELO, classic ELO, and just got, entwined in it. But anyway, give it a
Yeah.
listen, see what you think. But it's like ELO on steroids.
I have it actually. I have it in. Yeah. Anyway.
What? ELO or
Yellow, yellow.
no, but
Yeah.
This is the
but
tubes.
The tube. Yeah.
the Tubes. I think it's their first album. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Wings
So
Inside.
So Swing Aside is like
yeah.
our second music video. It's like bright, colorful. I guess the real concept of Wings Inside is like feeling nervous,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like the butterflies you get in your tummy when you're anxious. Putting like a positive, kind of bright, happy spin on that, and it's got some kind of like personal kind of meanings to you,
Yeah.
but it's just open to interpretation
Well,
for the listener.
since you mentioned that, you've been singing for years. Do you ever get those?
Well, that could be a very long conversation. Essentially, I mean, I've been singing since I was little, and
Yeah.
kind of even from like professionally from very little, and I was always very confident, not nervous. There was a point in my career, like early 20s, where I did suddenly get stage fright out of nowhere, and it's something I kind of worked through. I talk about it a lot with because I kind of dedicated a song to it almost. But yeah, something I worked through and got over. And now I think it's like good to have like a healthy balance of nerves. I think you need that adrenaline, and I need to kind of like psych myself up, but I'm not nervous that it's like over. It's kind of falling into like ruining the performance. It's something I can kind of healthy dose, but get over and use it positively.
And teaching, I sometimes used to have that same problem getting up in front of, full classroom
Yeah, of course.
of students, same thing. And one of the first things I usually say every night is, I'm not going to be perfect. That's part of a professor, is studying, learning,
Mm.
researching. So yeah, you may say things wrong, it may not be perfect, but you're also a human being. So yeah, no, but
I think that's
anyway,
what
yeah,
took
but
me
yeah,
to kind of
all of us can get them when you're up there trying to make a speech or something. Probably,
Yeah.
these candidates that are running for office, same thing. If you
Mm.
ask them, oh no, this is easy, but in reality, there's still a
You
little
must
bit.
feel the butterfly, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
of
Yeah.
course.
And it's gonna cut
It's
out,
probably
is
gonna
it?
cut out on us
Yeah.
if we're
Oh yeah.
Well, we got one more